In light of the recent controversy surrounding MultiVersus, I made a video and it got a lot of love and support from all corners of the MultiVersus community. And for one, I thank y'all for that, but one voice in particular stuck out to me, and that was the casual player base. More casual players were upset with the state of balancing and toxicity within the game, and it was great to hear their perspectives on the issues within the game because I don't hear from them as often as I do top players. Their insight on their issues within the game is so far removed from my experience that it can be hard to take them seriously at times, but it's important that they're heard just as much as anyone else that's better at the game. So in light of this newfound perspective, I decided to go into ranked and give myself 24 hours to hit Masters rank with a brand new character that I have never played before. I kind of wanted to test the waters a little bit, see what I could do. To give a bit of context, my main for the season was Agent Smith, and I got him to Masters 2, and I think I'm like rank 60 right now. My character of choice for this challenge, however, was Wonder Woman, because I recently bought the Black Lantern skin from the Halloween event. She also seemed very straightforward, and I figured that my fundamentals paired with her heavyweight and hard-hitting attacks, I would be in good shape to complete this challenge. I also am on the hunt for a new main character for season 4, and I am heavily considering her to be the pick depending on how the balance changes affect the flow of the game. But let me know who you guys are thinking about playing next season, man. Let me know in the comments. This challenge had its highs and it definitely had its lows, but I'd like to share what I've learned after completely torturing myself for this video. Please drop a like on this video. This shit was hell. Upon taking this challenge upon myself, my respect for low elo players grew to a point that I did not think was possible at all. If you've already hit a certain rank on a different character, you'll automatically be started out in gold, so I didn't get to experience the absolute insanity of bronze and silver, but in gold I noticed something quite interesting. Most of these players are not terrible at the game by any stretch of the imagination, and I even found myself sitting at around an 80% win rate throughout my time in gold. A lot of these players in this rank had the basics down, and I could tell that they were really dedicated to their character of choice. A good number of these players had more wins on their main character than I do total on my entire account, which is saying something. I think this is so good for the game because it shows that if you add characters with a great fan base, it won't be necessarily enough to save the game, but you can keep these really dedicated players playing, and that's great for everyone. I also had a lot of people giving me heart emotes and giving toast and shit out regularly in these gold ranks, which felt amazing compared to the high elo games I play on my main. I even had friend requests sent to me after I got the win a couple times, and I was taken aback a bit. Like, man, I don't know if they were viewers of mine or they just genuinely wanted to run it back sometime, but that was another great experience in gold rank. Getting out of gold was a quite easy process for me, but I did have my hiccups learning how to use my new character, as well as get used to the matchups at the same time. Once I got out of gold and I started to play against exclusively low plat players, I started to realize something else. These were the most toxic players I have played in any game ever, besides this piece of shit right here. The ego on these players was genuinely shocking to me because they seemed as if they were like hard rage baiting me and spamming salt emotes and teabagging whenever I would get rung out. It caught me off guard because I had never experienced this level of toxicity within MultiVersus up until this point, and I started to realize that this is what all the hype is about on Reddit. You can find like someone once a week talking about how toxic things are, and I can never engage in the conversation because I've never experienced it until now. These niggas are devious individuals, and now I understand what everyone is going through within these ranks. One more blaring thing that I noticed within the platinum ranks is the difference between the characters. In many fighting games, your basic fundamentals and skills transfer very well between characters, so it's easy to kind of smurf and still find success like I did in the gold ranks. But it's different now. At this point, my lack of matchup knowledge and even basic knowledge of my own character was starting to show, and my win rate was starting to drop. Those basic fundamentals that I could use to bully gold players would work on plats, but not nearly to the same effect. The main contributor to that, in my opinion, was how the game is balanced. It just is what it is. Every character within MultiVersus has a gimmick to be played in order to be remotely successful, and plat players in my experience played that gimmick far too much. The basic fundamentals that the gold players are developing seem to get thrown out of the window in plat, and they're leaning more on the character's intricacies to get them to diamond. After realizing something so crucial within the platinum ranks, I started to get very frustrated with the game, and I could feel some rage coming on at this point. I never sit down and play MultiVersus for more than an hour or two every couple of days, and I only do that to get footage for the channel, so I had bitten off more than I could chew at this point. I decided to take a break from the challenge, and I returned a couple hours later with a clear head. I locked back in with the Wonder Woman and managed to claw myself up to diamond. You know, once I started to adapt to the playstyles of the people that get stuck in plat, I got more consistent, and that allowed me to have the mental bandwidth to actually learn Wonder Woman instead of just get the wins. A big problem in plat is their willingness to just turn off their brain and get the win by any means, and that stunts their growth as a player. If you want to climb, having an open mind and being okay with losing games does a lot for you. Now that I've made the climb up to diamond, the difference in skill was the widest that I had experienced throughout this entire challenge. I would fight one player who seemed like he was playing with his literal feet, and then the next would play like a literal tournament player. The one thing that these two types of players had in common was they were going to do anything to get the win. And I don't mean this in a bad way at all. These are good, respectable players that know what they're doing, but they would stop at nothing to get the slightest edge on me. I don't know if it was because there were only 2 days left in the season and everybody wanted to get masters, but the competition was at an all-time high. Not only were my skills on Wonder Woman not enough to keep up with the people playing their mains with thousands of wins in hundreds of hours, but I was getting really bad matchups as well. I even queued into the number 76 Grandmaster at one point, and at that point I checked the timer and I knew that it was time to call the challenge at Diamond 4. Am I happy about it? No, but I did learn a lot about the game by playing a wider set of players. On my main, I would literally queue into top 10 players almost every game, because once everyone hit masters, they would stop playing the game, leaving casual players like me to fight the grandmasters. It's in no way a good experience at all. And that leads me to my conclusion. Ranked in MultiVersus obviously isn't perfect. Hell, it isn't even great, but it is a fun experience when you appreciate the game for what it is. Doing this challenge made me realize that blasting a game like this is a terrible idea, and it should only be done for content in my humble opinion. I definitely could have hit masters if I gave myself another day or two to do so, but I probably need to be put in a padded white room when I'm finished, so I'm gonna pass on that. As you can probably guess, I'm sleep deprived as shit, so be sure to like the video if you liked it, and yeah, I'm taking my ass to sleep.